It's David Wayne with YBE, and I feel really good today. I am grateful. I am grateful. I'm grateful to be here with you all, for all of you that is watching. There's something that's been on my spirit lately, and there's weighing heavy on me. I confess, I am a product of spiritual abuse. I've gone through a lot of things in my life, to be honest. But I went through spiritual abuse for about 10 years. I was at a church, which, to be honest, at the very beginning, it took, it really saved me from a hard place. I was into a lot of uh, bad things, and they stepped in. It was almost like a savior. My life was changed. I was a man of God. I was changed. I was renewed. I was redeemed. Uh, and in many ways, I did change. In many ways, I did change. But in many ways, I was also destroyed. I was also put into a framework. I was also given an identity. I was also giving the reins of my life over to others. I became inauthentic. I became ingenuine. I also forgot who I was. Well, to be honest, I didn't know who I was to begin with, but it did make it a heck of a lot harder for me to find out who I am without the influence of others, without the personas being projected onto me, societal influences and things of that nature. It was about whether or not I can find out exactly who I am, uninfluenced, unimpressed, if that makes sense. But I want to speak about spiritual abuse. There's many who's been through it. Many of us have, many of us, but also at the same time, many of us do not speak about it. For myself, I spent a good 10, almost 15 years not speaking about it. But I was at a small church, and I went from being an usher, worked my way up to uh, being a pastor and training. Went from, usher to minister, to from minister to youth pastor, from youth pastor to pastor in training. Whereas I did leave at that point. It was a good 10-year stint that I spent there. Now, to get into it, what I suffered is not the important part, but it's necessary for me to allow you to know what I went through so that you can understand the severity that it can have on someone's life, and also understand that if you yourself have gone through that very same thing, that there is someone that understands your pain. I understand your pain for those that understand mine, for those that resonate. Now, what I went through, firstly, my mind was attacked. That was the first thing that they did. My mind was attacked. I was traumatized. I was made to believe that my view, concept, and understanding of the world was completely wrong, and that I was unable to correctly determine right from wrong on my own. And ultimately, this was an attempt to gaslight me and others in order to allow us to give over our freedom over our entire life. Now, this happened for me and the entire congregation. This happened for me and people that I also brought into that church, which I am guilty of that. And I suffer that daily, but I learned from it. I truly believe that that like Einstein said, God does not play dice with the universe. Now, but we were put under a mind-binding spell. We were put under a traumatizing, trauma-bonding spell, not realizing that we ourselves was under the tutelage of a narcissist. Now, now this person, now this was a lady that comes off as a very loving, mothering lady, which mothering was what almost every member of that congregation longed for at that time. I myself longed for mothering, which I did not have, but I longed for it, and I thought I found it in this pastor, self-proclaimed prophetess, a person that aligned themselves with the likeness of Moses and leading us to a promised land, and it only being the promised land of, not to be petty, but in all seriousness, the promised land of food stamps and never-ending building funds, money disappearing. Where did the money of the building fund, where did $17,000 go? Why are you asking people publicly to fix the books because you're not taking the donations and tithes and offering? You're not writing these things down. You're not taking it down for tax purposes, is what I mean. But we were under a spell, illusions all around us. Now, one of the things that you can see, you'll know one of these types of churches by of course, by the fruits that it bear. And this particular fruit, this church, every relationship that goes into this particular church dies. I mean, it dies within 1 to 2 years. I myself got married while I was within that church. I was married, and was married for almost 5 years. And this young lady, she was younger than me. This young lady became a co-pastor, co-youth pastor with me. I didn't find out till, first of all, let me go, before I go there. We pastored together. Now, it was and to the outward appearance, we were a great relationship. To everyone, they thought she was an angel. They thought we were perfect. We were nowhere near perfect. We both cried out for help. We both wanted counseling, not only for the marriage, but we wanted counseling for our lives, and we did not receive that. And I quote the words of my leader was that God has taken them to a higher level, and that they could not help for such things of that smaller pastoral level, because they've been called to an apostolic level now. So now we're in a church. Now we have an apostle, but no pastor. We have an apostle with no pastor. Now, this particular person, now, mind you, I did ask for a mentor several times, a male mentor for myself. It was not received. I was told throughout the years over and over that God said it wasn't yet my time. Now, but back to the story. Now, this particular woman that I did marry, I did fall in love with, I did bring her from the Church of Christ into that particular church. And she did say God that told her to join the church. So at the time, I believe that was a lovely and perfectly God type thing. Now, mind you, I did get to a point that I wanted to break up with her, and I, through her very much of her charms and convincing, I did not. But it was pushed to the limit once the pastor said that this is your wife. Then 2 more pastors within that month came and said, this is your wife. I married this woman, sure enough, thinking that it was the very will of God. It was the most tumultuous and terrifying relationship that I have ever gone through. Now, I don't hold myself as anything perfect, and I'm sure that it was just as devastating and mind-rending for her as it was for myself. We were under spiritual abuse. Unknowingly, we were under constant 360 spiritual attack, unbeknownst to us and our relationship. Now, it is a miracle that it lasted as long as it did, that marriage. It is a miracle that it did, but we did. I did later find out that this particular person had involvements with pornography and the making of pornography. I'm speaking of my ex, that particular person. So the very person that I was told, that was supposedly told by God, that told me that God said that this is your wife, is now a then now I realize so this person is a porn star. This person does porn, and the very videos that I found. First off, now I don't watch porn for my personal preference. Now I don't down anyone for watching porn. I'm celibate for my own spiritual growth and choice. And that's where I'm at. I like sex. I like women. I love them. I have nothing against anyone of their preferences, but I for myself don't watch porn. But it was given to me in my spirit that my ex was watching porn. Now I know that sounds crazy, but it was. I thought it was crazy too when I heard it. And this was at the beginning of this year when I heard that, and I went through a whole 6-hour trip through the internet trying to find something, a video of my ex in porn, which sounds crazy and impossible, but I went at it for a good 6 hours. And sure enough, I did find that video ex-military man being cheated on while he's at work. His wife cheated on him on his work. Yes, that was my house, so that's my basket. Oh, that's my clothes there. And oh, when did I stay there? This is the very first year of our marriage. Found the OnlyFans later. Not only did I find the OnlyFans, I found the Pornhub, I found all of it. And it was all throughout the relationship, all throughout the almost 5-year marriage. I was being cheated on and sexual acts being done in my house. But this is the person that has been lifted up to the inner workings of the church, that is said to be posted there by God, that has been placed as my spiritual wife. But this person all along is doing pornography. All along doing witchcraft, because I did find that on the OnlyFans. Yes, witchcraft. But I dare say that a lot of people, unbeknownst to me, knew about that. A lot of people knew that because people will triangulate and place people in your path in order to control you, in order to keep you in that one spot. But that's one of the things that I went through while at that church. There's a lot more discovery. What led me out of that church is when I finally discovered that that pastor, through seeing bank statements, that the building fund was being used at casinos in Ohio and other states outside of Texas, because we're from Texas, Houston, Texas. But it was being used at all of these different casinos. And it was another minister who showed me these bank statements, thousands of dollars going in, thousands of dollars going out, 4 to 5 times a month. Now, we, the congregation, was being told that this person was spending nights in fasting at hotels and solitude with God. But in fact, that person was spending nights at hotels with solitudes of slot machines. It's a long story. It's going to take more to get out. So we're going to close this here and we'll get more into it. Now, if you suffered spiritual abuse yourself, be sure to comment below. I want to know about it. It needs to be said. It needs to be spoken about it a lot more now, more than ever. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button, the notification button, so you can know when I put stuff up. You want to know, I travel a lot. So, right here, we're at the Cali Bay. But anyway, you all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Stay mindful, stay peaceful, stay vigilant. Thank you so much, angels. Yes, you are my angels. Have a wonderful day. David Wayne, YBE. I'm out.